Hi, this video is for installing and setting the timing belt on a Chrysler 4-cylinder double overhead cam engine. You're going to find that it's a little bit of a task to get the timing marks just right on this vehicle due to the double overhead cam as compared to a single overhead cam. Single overhead cam, your timing mark would be similar to the crank mark. It would be one on the gear and one on the mark on the block. And you would have, usually on a single overhead, you would have the same thing, a mark on the gear and some type of mark on the block where you would line it up. Double overhead cam, you're lining up the timing marks here and here. They're both on the gears. Trouble is, when you put the belt on, you have a tendency to have to move the gear slightly, and it's very easy to get the setting wrong, and your engine's not going to run right. I ran into this problem myself. I had to tear the thing apart a second time to reset the belt, get it proper. And what I found was it's much easier to look at the arms here on the shaft, on the gears, and when they are lined up, you're correct. This tooth here with the timing mark on it will basically be lined up to the valley here and not directly to the timing mark here. You'll see that this mark is slightly offset, very close to the edge of the tooth, and they want this mark to fall between. Your crank mark basically ends up nearly the same way. You're going to have a mark on the tooth, and when it's correct, you're going to find that the mark on the motor itself more or less will line up to the edge of this tooth and really more toward the valley between the two teeth. When you go to put the belt on, first of all, pull your spark plugs. It's going to make it much easier to move the engine. You get rid of the compression. Much easier to turn the engine over. When you go to put the belt on, always work in a counterclockwise direction from around the crank, around your water pump, over your idler pulley, and back over the gears in this direction. This is putting the belt on. And generally what they have you do is you're going to turn both of these gears a little bit clockwise, just like a half a tooth. Bring this one up just a hair, this one clockwise, bringing this mark down just a hair. When you put the belt on, you're going to need to take you're tightening, you're pulling on the belt, getting tension on it, slipping it onto this gear. Now, to get the slack out of here, you almost have to turn this a hair, and to line up a tooth, what I've done is you're going to be turn this slightly counterclockwise now until it falls into the proper slot, the next slot, because more likely it's not going to line up good. And at that time, you're bringing the marks. You're going to bring this mark back down, and this mark is going to come up slightly, and theoretically they should line up. To get the belt over the tensioner, even with the tensioner set in with the pin in the unloaded position, when you have this belt on tight, you'll be able to slip it over this pulley barely. It almost seems like it's next to impossible to do, but when you have the belt on there and all the slack is out, you'll be able to get the belt over this, slip the belt over the tensioner, and you should be all set. There again, what you want to do at that point, once you got the belt on, you got both of these arms lined up. You're going to notice it says up on both pulley. This is the position that you want your pulleys. There is a timing mark on the opposite end on the gear. You'll see a timing mark here and a timing mark over here. Disregard those. These pulleys are interchangeable, so if you had this pulley put on over here, this mark would be at this position, and the same for if this pulley was here, you'd be using this mark over here. But we're only concerned with the two marks here. What you want to do with that, once you get your belt on, is turn the motor over 2 times. So this is going to come around once, twice. Recheck your position here, and you're going to find that these arms on the pulleys should line up perfectly, and in that manner. If you have one that's slightly this way and the other one's like this, or vice versa, and you're off. You know you're off a tooth or so. Pull the belt off. Do it again. You know, loosen your tensioner, put the pin back in, and try it again. It's almost kind of a hit and miss thing, but take the time to turn that motor over. You don't want to be pulling the whole thing apart again, like what happened to me. So just take the time to turn that motor over a couple of times, and make sure everything is set in this position. Once everything looks like that, and you've done that, you're done. You're good to go. The thing will run perfect. If you're off a tooth or so, and you start the motor up, the car may run. My car, the car I did, it did run. It just ran poorly. At an idle, it kind of skipped. You sped it up, it didn't sound too bad, but at an idle, it wasn't running right. There was definitely something wrong. It would actually start to stall a couple of times. I ended up having to pull it back apart. But this is what you want it to look like, you know, once you're done. Like I say, this tooth would be more or less aimed toward this valley. Important thing is that these line up properly. They may almost be, because when you crank the motor up or jack the motor tends to sit on a little bit of an angle, which would be bringing both these gears like this. As long as they're both lined up in that straight fashion is what you're looking for. All right, I hope this works for you guys. As the videos I found on YouTube and whatever don't go quite into this much detail, and I think that's the important part here to understand, is that it's not just a matter of slipping the belt on. You almost have to turn these here to get the belt on properly, so there's no slack in the belt here, and that's why you have to kind of reset the pulley a little bit clockwise this direction here. Clockwise would bring this mark down, so when you pull on the pulley or on the belt to get it tight, you're going to probably more than likely move this a hair back down to here, and you're going to pull back on this pulley to get the groove on the belt to line up with a tooth here, and your mark should line up. Okay, good luck with the job, guys. Take care.